You're in seat 22B, middle seat, knees against the plastic, a stranger's elbow already winning the armrest. Your phone buzzes as you shuffle down the aisle. It's not a gate change. It's a $40 charge for the bag you're currently carrying. You paid $200 for this ticket 3 weeks ago, and somehow you're still paying. Everyone watching just split into two groups. Either you're nodding, because you're sitting in 22B right now, or you turned left when you boarded and you haven't thought about a bag fee in years. Here's what nobody says out loud. The airline treats you completely differently at every level of wealth, and it looks like it gets nicer as you climb. It doesn't. It's the same machine the whole way up, and the reward at the top was never a better seat. It was finding out you were the product all along, and the buyer was a bank. Subscribe if you want to see the exact moment you stop being a passenger and quietly become inventory. So let's start where most people fly. You make $44,000 to $54,000 a year, and you booked the cheapest fare on the screen. Basic economy, $200 round trip, and every word after that price is a way to charge you again. You want to pick a seat, that's $19. You want the overhead bin, some fares now block that too. The bag you're holding, $40. Board last, group 9. And by the time you reach 22B, the space above you is already gone. None of this is a mistake. It's called unbundling, and it's the whole design. They took one ticket and shredded it into a dozen little fees, then handed you the pieces back one at a time. The low headline price is the bait. It's built to win the search result, not to be what you end up paying. And the timing is the cruel part. The bag fee doesn't hit while you're at home comparing prices. It hits at the gate, when the plane is boarding and you've got no leverage and no way out. The middle seat that feels like bad luck is inventory, priced on purpose. The good seats aren't full. They're just held back, so the pinch you feel is the product. To this airline, at this level, you're not a traveler. You're a fare with a few upsells stapled on. And the industry tracks exactly how well this works. Add up the bag fees, the seat fees, the boarding upgrades, the extra legroom. Airlines worldwide pulled in $148 billion in a single year on these add-ons alone, not from tickets, from the pieces they tore off the ticket. That's larger than the whole yearly economy of some countries, built on telling you that a carry-on costs extra. And that number climbs every year because the ticket keeps getting thinner and the fees keep getting fatter. But the moment you start flying a little more, they stop nickel and diming you and switch to the opposite trick. They get generous. And that generosity is the most expensive thing in this whole video. Now jump. You got the promotion. You're flying 6 or 7 times a year and an offer lands in your inbox. The airline's own credit card. Around $550 a year, but look what it hands you. Your checked bag, free. Priority boarding, yours. A lounge pass, a seat upgrade, a pile of bonus miles just for signing up. For the first time, the airline feels like it's on your side. It waived the exact fee that used to sting. You feel like you finally beat them. You didn't. You just became worth selling. But they never explain the part that matters. That waived fee costs them almost nothing, because the money stopped being the $40 bag a long time ago. Now it's the swipe. Every time you buy groceries, gas, or dinner with that card, the store pays a fee of up to about 3%. A slice of that flows straight to the airline on a purchase that has nothing to do with flying. And the airline gets something bigger than the swipe. It prints miles out of thin air, then sells them, in bulk, for real cash, to the bank behind the card. You think miles are a gift they give you. Miles are a currency they manufacture and sell. And the largest buyer of airline miles on Earth isn't a frequent flyer. It's a bank. That income is also steadier than flying. A recession empties the planes, but people keep swiping straight through it. Better still, a big share of those miles never get redeemed. They sold you a reward, book the cash, and quietly bet you'll never collect. So the airline doesn't need you in a seat anymore. It needs you spending. By now you're thinking, so a cardholder who barely flies is worth more than a loyal passenger who never takes the card. Yes, the loyal passenger only pays when they fly. You pay every single day you own the card. Run the math they're hoping you skip. You pay $550 and feel clever because you clawed back a few hundred in bag fees. Meanwhile, the bank pays the airline far more than that for your account and earns it back off your spending all year. You didn't beat the fee. You got promoted from the thing being charged to the thing being sold. The seat was never the product they cared about. You were, and they just found the customer who'd pay the most for you. Once they see that number, the treatment changes again, and this is where it stops looking like an airline at all. Skip ahead. Your net worth crosses $2 million. You're up front now, lie flat seat, warm towel, the crew knows your name, and you've reached the top status tier. Diamond or platinum, or whatever they name the good one. But notice how you got there. It wasn't how far you flew. Back in 2015, the biggest airlines quietly rewrote the rules. Status stopped being about distance and started being about dollars. Spend more, climb higher. On some airlines, holding the top tier now means running around $28,000 a year through them, most of it on the card. They stopped rewarding the people who flew the most. They started rewarding the people who spent the most. And here's the number that should change how you see this whole industry. In 2020, when travel stopped and airlines were burning cash to survive, United went to lenders and put up the one asset worth borrowing against. Not its planes, not its gates, its mileage program. That program got valued at around $22 billion, roughly twice what the entire airline was worth, and United borrowed almost $7 billion against it. Let that land for a second. The frequent flyer program was worth 2 airlines. Over at American, the same math ran even hotter. Their program got appraised as high as $30 billion, several times the value of the airline flying the planes. The flights were the loss leader. The loyalty was the asset. Sit with what that loan meant. When United needed cash, it didn't pledge jets. It pledged you, and everyone else still earning miles. You weren't the customer in that deal. You were the collateral. And Delta's deal with one credit card company brings in more than $7 billion a year on its own. That's close to a tenth of everything Delta earns, and the airline has said out loud it wants to push it toward $10 billion. That's not a rounding error next to ticket sales. For airlines like this, the cards are the business. Flying the planes is the marketing. You're sitting there thinking, so the airline is a bank with wings. Correct. The seat up front isn't a reward for your loyalty. It's the pampering that keeps a high spender swiping. Even the lounge is a tool. The free drinks and the quiet chairs exist to make you spend the next $28,000 without shopping around. They're not managing a passenger anymore. They're protecting an account. And the strange part is what happens when you get rich enough that the account stops mattering. Near the top, the whole machine goes quiet and lets you walk away. One more jump. You cross $30 million, then more, and something flips completely. You stop earning miles because you stop flying commercial. No status, no card, no boarding group. You charter first, a few $1,000s an hour. Then you buy a jet card, a block of hours paid up front that starts north of $400,000, and you skip the terminal entirely. Above that, you buy a fraction of a jet outright, a share in the actual tail number, with a crew that knows your coffee order before you land. And at the top, you just buy the plane. A new flagship Gulfstream lists around $78 million, and a fully outfitted one clears $85 million. You wire it the way most people buy a used car. Notice what you quietly stopped doing on the way up here. You stopped collecting anything. Down at the bottom, you chased miles you'd never use. Up here, you borrow against what you already own and let the assets keep growing behind you. This is the inversion the whole climb was hiding. Every level beneath you was being sorted, ranked, and quietly sold to a bank, and the reward for climbing was always another version of the same leash. A nicer seat, a better card, a warmer greeting, all of it built to keep you inside the program. And then you get rich enough, and the reward is that the program finally lets go. Nobody sells your miles because you don't earn any. Nobody chases your swipe because you don't need their card. The people at the top aren't winning the loyalty game. They bought their way out of it. The ladder was built to carry you up one rung at a time, and the prize waiting at the top was never the private jet. It was walking away from being the product at all. So go back to seat 22B. Same middle seat, same stranger's elbow, same $40 buzzing on your phone as you board. Except now you see the boarding pass in your hand for what it always was. Not a ticket to a place. An application. You were signing up for something every time you flew, and the airline was quietly deciding how much you were worth to a bank you never chose. The fee, the card, the status, the jet. 4 different names for one long escalator, carrying you upward, sorting you by how much you'd spend on the way. Nobody ever handed you a map of it. Because the machine works best when the people funding it still believe they're only flying somewhere. The person in 22B and the person on the Gulfstream were riding the same escalator the whole time, just facing opposite ends of it. You were never the passenger here. You were the cargo that pays for its own ticket.